Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota.
I hear you, man.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota.
I feel you, man.
It's so hot out. I don't want to do anything.
I know, I just want to sit around and eat.
Me too. Why is it so hot?
Because of thermodynamics.
Thermodynamics? What is that?
Well, how about I teach you?
När motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter
Woo! So much fun being outside.
You okay? What happened?
My leg, I think I have a muscle strain.
What do you need? Do you want some icy hot?
Yeah, can I get some ice to make my muscle relax, please?
Yeah, I think there's some inside. Let's go.
Okay. Temperature, the measure of hot and cold.
If you wanted to convert your Celsius temperature to Kelvin temperature, you'll get your Celsius temperature and add it to this number.
To change Fahrenheit to Celsius, take 5 divided by 9, multiply it by your Fahrenheit temperature minus 32.
And to get your Celsius temperature to Fahrenheit, you'll get 9/5, multiply it by your Celsius temperature, and then add that to 32. Thermal expansion is the tendency of matter to change in volume.
The change is a response to the change in temperature.
All materials have this tendency. The first law of thermodynamics is the change in thermal energy.
An object's energy is equal to the heat that is added to the object minus the work done by the object.
The second law of thermodynamics are the natural processes go in directions that maintains or increases the total entropy of the universe. Entropy, a thermodynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted as the degree of disorder or randomness in the system. Heat, the quality of being hot. High temperature is sensitive to both heat and cold. Cryokinetics is a rehabilitation technique involving ice application followed by progressive active exercises. It has been shown to be very successful in treating ligament sprains. Muscle strain is injury to muscle as a result of strenuous activity. Almost anyone can put pressure on muscles during the course of normal daily activities with sudden, quick, heavy lifting during sports or while performing work tasks. RICE stands for rest, ice, compressions, and elevation.
Menthol fluid, a crystalline compound with a cooling minty taste and odor found in peppermint and other natural oils. It is used as a flavoring and in decongestants and analgesics. Methyl salicylate is oil of wintergreen or wintergreen oil. It is a natural product of many species or plants. Some of the plants which produce it are called wintergreens, hence the common name.
A girl gets a muscle strain from jumping too much. Cryokinetics are used to relax her muscle. An icy hot patch contains 0.36 kilograms of menthol and the initial temperature is -3 degrees Celsius. Assume menthol acts as water while it melts with 500 kilojoules of energy. What is the final temperature? Energy is 500 kilojoules. The mass is 0.36 kilograms. The specific heat is 2060 joules per kilogram degrees Celsius, and the initial temperature is -3 degrees Celsius.
The energy is 500 kilojoules, which turns into 500,000 joules. Mass is 0.36 kilograms. Specific heat is used as water, so it's 2060 joules over kilograms times degrees Celsius. Initial temperature is -3 degrees Celsius, and we're looking for what phase it'll be in and the final temperature. So we're using Q is equal to MC delta T, and on our graph you can see that it starts out as an ice and melts to become a water. So 500,000 joules is equal to 0.36 times 2060 multiplied by TF minus -3. So TF minus -3 comes from the delta T, which is the change in temperature. You always minus your final temperature before you minus your initial. So then this and the next problem turns into a positive because two negatives make a positive. 0.36 times 2060 is 741.6. Then you use your distributive property and multiply it by your final temperature and your +3. Then you'll have 500,000 joules is equal to 741.6 of your final temperature, and then 2,224.8. So you're going to subtract 2,224.8 from both sides, which will make this cancel out. Your joules will end up to be 497,775.2, and that's going to be equal to your final temperature, or to your mass times your final temperature. Then you're going to divide that by both sides, and your final temperature is going to be 671.2 degrees Celsius.